Let's jump right into this explainer because today we're unpacking a timeless truth that has literally shaped the modern world. We're talking about how your mindset directly dictates your reality. Now, this isn't just some feel-good theory. It's the exact same foundation used by titans like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and Jeff Bezos. They didn't just stumble into greatness by accident, they built it from the inside out. So today we're going to break down the actual mechanics of how that internal shift works, and we're using a really incredible story to guide us.
Okay, let's dive into this super famous concept: what you think about, you become. You've probably heard this quote from Napoleon Hill's classic Think and Grow Rich. And I mean, it sounds incredibly simple, right? Almost too simple. But it forces us to ask a pretty tough question. If this knowledge is out there for everyone, why do so many people still struggle to actually succeed? Is it that they just don't think about their futures? Or maybe, is there a massive disconnect between what they want and what they fundamentally believe about themselves?
So, the absolutely crucial point we're exploring today is exactly that. Do people fail simply because they are blind to their own inner capability? To answer that, we're going to look at a fascinating story from our source material about a beggar at a busy railway station. Now, as we track his journey, I really want you to ask yourself, do you fail to see your own potential? Because look, his starting point might be completely different from yours, but the mental trap he's stuck in, it's entirely universal. All right, on to section 1, the beggar's dilemma, a life of taking. Our story starts with a man who survived day in and day out by just asking passing commuters for spare change at a really bustling railway platform. His whole existence was basically built on dependence. He truly believed he had absolutely nothing to offer, so his only business strategy, if you can even call it that, was to take. And this routine went on completely undisturbed, until one specific day, when he spots a well-dressed businessman. Seeing the sharp suit, the briefcase, the confident walk, the beggar's mind immediately jumps to a highly predictable conclusion. Operating purely from a place of lack, he thinks, wow, this guy must be rich. He'll definitely give me a huge payout. So he walks up, hand out, expectations sky high. But instead of reaching for his wallet, the businessman just stops. He looks the beggar dead in the eye and drops this startling reality check. He asks, do you always just take from others? Have you ever given anything to anyone? Imagine the shock. The beggar is completely caught off guard and stammers out that he's just a beggar with literally nothing to give. I mean, he had never, ever been asked a question like this in his entire life. And wow, this brilliantly captures the core philosophy of our source material. The businessman hits him with this powerful quote: if you believe you have nothing to give, then you also have no right to ask for anything. He lays his worldview out, plain and simple. He says, look, I'm a businessman, and I believe purely in exchange. If you can offer something, sure, I can give you something in return. But if you offer absolutely nothing, you receive nothing. It's just the fundamental law of value. Which brings us to section 2, the epiphany of exchange, a paradigm shift.
So left completely stunned as the businessman walks away, the beggar's entire worldview just shatters. He realizes the guy wasn't actually being rude, he was dropping a profound truth bomb, and it highlights this stark contrast between two completely different ways of moving through the world. On the left, you've got his old beggar mindset, right? Fundamentally believing you're empty, operating from total lack, and just extracting from the world. But on the right, you have the business mindset. This is operating from a belief in exchange, where generating and offering value is the absolute non-negotiable prerequisite to receiving anything. It's a massive shift from being a passive consumer to an active creator.
Now, real transformation rarely happens overnight, right? Let's see how this actually builds. On day 1, he literally lies awake, deep in thought, those words just playing on loop in his head. By day 2, he actually fasts from begging completely. He shifts his entire focus from scraping for money to trying to answer one question: what can I possibly give? And then, day 3, a breakthrough. Sitting there at the station, he notices these vibrant wildflowers growing right near the tracks. Suddenly, a brilliant, actionable plan starts to take shape. Let's dive into section 3, the flower trader, testing the theory. Determined to test out this brand new mindset, the beggar plucks a big handful of those wildflowers and heads back to his usual spot. But his strategy is totally different now. For every single person who hands him a coin, he offers them a flower in return. He isn't just asking anymore, he's trading. And the result of this little experiment? It's a massive, overwhelming success. People are genuinely thrilled to accept the flowers. They smile, they say thank you, and crucially, they actually start giving him way more money. But a very specific pattern emerges. People donated generously, but only as long as he had flowers to give. The second he ran out, the donations totally dried up.
The theory of exchange was just definitively proven right before his eyes.
This hands-on experiment triggers some absolute life-changing realizations for him. First off, human beings inherently love receiving something in return. Second, he realizes the money he's making, it's no longer just pity money, it's revenue. It's direct payment for those flowers. Third, he is literally functioning as a trader now. And ultimately, it hits him. He's built a business. In just a matter of days, he executed a complete pivot, entirely shifting his identity from a beggar to an entrepreneur. Eventually, sure enough, that very same businessman returns to the station on his regular commute. The beggar excitedly rushes over, spots him on the train, and successfully trades him a flower for cash. He proudly declares that today he actually has something to give. The businessman smiles, hands him the money, and leaves him with this incredibly validating, empowering statement. Today, you are no longer just a beggar. You have become a businessman.
Let's just zoom out for a second and look at the universal formula for success that the beggar unknowingly activated here. It is a simple 3-step process. Step 1, recognize your inner potential. Finding those wildflowers, figuring out whatever it is you have to offer. Step 2, actually offer that value to the world around you. And step 3, receive in return. This is the exact step-by-step blueprint for moving from a mindset of lack directly into a mindset of value creation. It works for a flower trader, and trust me, it works perfectly for a tech CEO too.
All right, final section, section 4, shaping your own reality, the long-term transformation. Completely fueled by this profound mindset shift, our protagonist makes a really bold decision that very same day. He decides to pack up, leave the railway station for good, and promises himself that he will never, ever return as a beggar again. Now fast forward just 6 months later to the exact same platform. 2 well-dressed men cross paths. They look like total equals. They even exchange a handshake. But one of them is looking at the other with this curious, kind of confused expression, clearly trying to figure out where he knows him from. The businessman's eyes go wide in absolute shock when it clicks. He says, "Wait, no way. You're the beggar, the guy I refused to give money to?" The former beggar just laughs, confirms it, and says proudly, "Yup, now I run a successful flower business and am actually traveling to expand it further." The businessman is literally stunned to realize that the sharp, well-dressed equal standing right in front of him is the exact same guy who was begging for change just a few months prior. When the businessman asks him what on earth changed, the former beggar reveals the ultimate secret to his entire transformation. He says, "I was never really a beggar. I was a businessman all along. I just had to see myself that way." And guys, this is the entire crux of this explainer. An internal shift in self-perception absolutely had to happen first. He had to stop seeing himself as a victim of his circumstances and start seeing himself as a creator of value, way before his external reality could possibly change. As we wrap up this explainer, let's distill the core takeaways from this pretty amazing story. First off, life is fundamentally shaped by how we see ourselves. Second, believing you're small or that you have nothing to offer, that will 100% guarantee you stay small. Third, actively recognizing your inner potential is literally the key that unlocks your greatness. And finally, the ultimate truth here, when your thoughts change, your future inevitably changes right along with them. Your internal narrative literally writes your reality. So I really want to leave you with a vital question to ask yourself as you go about the rest of your day. How do you see yourself right now? Are you maybe secretly limiting yourself with a beggar's mindset in your career, your relationships, or your big goals? Or are you ready to recognize your true inner potential, offer immense value, and start seeing yourself as the massive success you already are? The choice and the mindset is entirely up to you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.